While we're waiting for everyone else to get involved here, we are going to play some games. And so I'm going to put a few what I call word puzzles up. And as I put the word puzzles up, see if you can solve them. So here are a few. Need it bigger?
Yeah, please.
Hmm.
We're looking at all the slides.
Gotcha. Thank you. Better?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. So these are called word puzzles. You've probably done some of these in your lifetime. Can you guess any of these?
Mind over matter.
Yes.
Lemonade.
Lemonade. What's this one here? The blue and yellow?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm bad at this.
I don't know that one.
Just between you and me.
Oh, smart.
Oh, okay.
Well, now that you say it.
Okay. How about this gray one down here?
West between.
Yeah.
East to west.
West Indies.
Oh.
Oh, I got more.
West Indies.
West Indies. Yeah.
Under the dog.
Right.
The underdog.
Yes. Yes.
What was it?
The underdog.
Oh.
Yeah. No, that's not it.
How about the purple one?
I get it.
What is it, Yolanda?
Fallen overboard, people.
Yes.
Overboard. I kept thinking falling on board, but I was like, that doesn't make sense.
I'm between jobs.
Very good, Jessa. Yes. How about this green one?
Long
underwear.
Nice.
Underpaid worker.
Yep.
Close.
Overworked, underpaid.
Yes.
There you go.
How about this gray one here?
That one is tricky.
Man, my brain's working.
Good. Backward.
Glance.
Yes. Backwards glance.
Oh.
Oh. What this purple and green one?
Enaloho.
Yes.
Yes, follow that. Yes.
In the loho. Yes. I'll take it.
I don't know that one.
Come on, Yolanda. You've lived at golf resorts before.
I mean, that means nothing. I know nothing.
A hole in.
Oh.
One.
Hole in one.
Okay.
Okay, and this orange one's a little tough to read, but
IEC, except.
I before E, except after C.
yes. Yes. What do these have to do with communication styles?
Figuring out.
You have to figure it out. What
Yeah,
else?
They all differ in whichever perspective, how you perceive it.
Okay. Yeah. So once you know it, though, what becomes very true to you?
The meaning behind it.
the meaning behind it. Okay. So once you heard an answer, so now I'm going to go back. I'll go back just one slide here. Now, every time you see where over long from now on, what are you going to see? You're going to see the answer, which is what?
Long underwear.
Long underwear. So I like to think of this as being very similar to communication styles of our guests, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once I get the communication style of that guest, I can't unsee it. And for forevermore shall be imprinted in my brain how I should be communicating with this person to increase the likelihood that they're going to receive the message the way that I want it to be received or needed it to be received. So I wanted to start this way to just get your brain working a little bit about how the answer may not be evident to you right away, but if you think about it and you talk about it with your teammates, you talk about your guests, talk about what you thought you heard, and did I hear that right? Did I understand that right? Or am I missing something? Then you increase the likelihood of being able to communicate flexibly with your guests. So good, we're all warmed up now, right?
Right.
Yeah, good.
Very much so.
Good. I'm going to put Kimberly's mic on mute for just a second because I think we're getting a little bit of feedback, but we will come back to that. So for right now, I just wanted to get us started on today's webinar. So today we're focusing on listening generously. So let me make sure that I have this the way I want it to be.
You have blue screen.
Do we have anything now?
You just need to make it bigger.
Perfect.
Perfect. Yep.
Yeah? Great. So our focus for today in webinar 2 is when our guests speak, we listen generously. When we're listening with every part of our body, we increase the likelihood of being able to hear truly what it is that they're looking for from us. And not just what they need, but also what they want. And I think this is a really important distinction to make when we're talking about reservation sales specifically. Our guests are not always going to tell us exactly what it is that they want because our guests don't know what they don't know. And they may not necessarily be as aware of what it is that they truly do want. You are the experts. So to that end, we want to make sure that we're opening up our ears and listening for two quite often. So we're going to do a little bit of backtracking today, but we're also going to make sure that we are not just catching up, but connecting to move forward as well. So today our goals will be to focus on the top 10 relationship breaking phrases that you should never say, to give you 6 generous listening techniques to make you more flexible, influential, and likable. We all want to be likable, right? So we want to talk about what it takes to really make that happen, because when I like you, I'm more inclined to buy from you. And also learning some advanced strategies to leverage your communication style and get what you want out of any conversation, increasing the likelihood of converting that call into a sale. So we asked you to have a little bit of pre-work done. Yolanda, do you happen to have that pulled up, what we had asked for them to do?
Well, I sure can.
I think we talked about them pulling some calls and having some examples ready. And I know that Eman and Kimberly already said that they had done that. Jessa, do you feel like you have some good examples to share?
I actually have not had any experience with Navis and calls yet. So I have a list of the 4 different guests though for the 4 colors. So that one I do have.
Great. Okay, good. We'll take it. We'll take whatever we can get. So we'll focus on that a little. And then the other thing I think we asked you to do was get prepared with the top 10 relationship breakers. So we included that for you in the prep email for today. We detailed all 10 of those for you. And so what we'd like to do is make sure that we are having that handy. So we're filling out our workbooks. And So it should look a little something like this. You have page 4 up, everybody.
We're seeing blue screen.
Wrong side. Is this better?
There
Yes.
you
Yes.
Great. Okay. So let's start with the top 10 relationship breakers in and of themselves, because I think that's going to be really helpful in our conversation today. We loaded you up with quite a few here, starting with what are your dates? Number 10, too many options. This is Erica. Can I have your name, please? Do you know what kind of place you want? I'm pretty sure we have that available, or I'm pretty sure we don't have that available. Feature dumping. Do you want to book that? Telling guests that's not available. Number 2, it all depends on what you want. And last but not least, call us back. Okay, so why are these considered relationship breakers? Take a guess. What do you think?
The call us back one, I know that just for that one specifically, for one, it sounds like you're unsure and you're not knowledgeable, and for 2, you haven't settled on anything, any kind of commitment.
Perfect. What else does that do, the call us back? Whose court does the decision end up being put into?
go. There's.
The caller instead of the seller, so it should be the other way around in my opinion. So it
Correct.
will be our interest to call them back, not for them to call us back.
Yes. They are busy. They called you. The goal then is when I call you as a guest, my expectation is that you're going to take the lead on this and help me get this, get what I am looking for. So we should be calling them back, not the other way around. So I wanted to give this to you to get you thinking a little bit about some of these perhaps that you fall into the trap of doing and don't even know that you're doing. And Kimberly, I know you don't have bad habits yet because you haven't handled any calls. So
Correct.
perhaps some of these you look at and you go, well, that seems pretty okay to me, so I don't understand why that could be a relationship breaker. But for others, you may say, well, I actually have had quite a bit of experience already with this, and I know that I'm saying some of these. So what'd you come up with? Which ones did you circle, any of you, and say, you know what, I know I'm saying this now, and I need to figure out how to change this one around for me?
The one that I circled and that I really got into it was too many options. My personal opinion, if I'm trying to get a book or a room or a condo, I don't want to be given too many options because as an overthinker, I'll overthink things. So I'll be like, never mind. It's too much.
I'm overwhelmed.
So yeah, I get overwhelmed, exactly. So that's my personal favorite of not giving too many options.
Perfect. So
Mine,
go ahead, Jessa.
sorry. I guess mine would be the number 10 is what are your dates?
Mm.
I just want to be precise and I want to know exactly which dates you're looking at, like, you know, which event it could be. So I just have an idea from my end.
So you want to ask that, but you're saying, well, why would that be considered a relationship breaker, right?
Yes, I am. I just don't know how else to say it in a non abrupt way to just be like, just give me the dates. Just give me the dates, you know?
Perfect. So for number 10, what are your dates? Yes, we do need to obtain the dates. What in our experience, what we find though is quite a few salespeople in your roles will tend to ask that first and let that then be the brush by which they paint everything else. So the challenge that I'm going to pose to you, Jessa, is to be thinking of other questions to be asking first, like what's bringing you to Snowmass for this particular summer vacation? Or tell me a little bit about your level of familiarity with what we have to offer here. When would you like to come to Snowmass? Should really be the better question for number 10. When would you like to come? The reason for that is when I ask a closed-ended, otherwise closed-ended question in an open-ended way, I am able to be in control of the dates. I am able to decide or hear flexibility or inflexibility. I'm able to determine from that guest whether or not they're firm on their dates or whether or not I might be able to convince them to come at a better time. I might even be able to uncover some sort of rate resistance. So if we start with something that's that concrete, looking for a closed-ended answer, it guides us down a path that may not necessarily be the most advantageous for you as a sales professional.
Great. I understand that. That is actually a better way to say it, that's for sure.
Good, good. So I think it's a win-win for both of you. If you can change what are your dates to, when are you hoping to come, or when do you plan to come to Snowmass? Good?
Great. Thank you.
Of course. Too many options. E-Man, you are the right person to tell us that you get overwhelmed, because green communicators do. They go into analysis paralysis, and then they want to know about every single thing that you have available, and then there's a no sale, and you're wondering why. So instead of providing too many options, the goal for us as salespeople is to narrow that down and be able to say to your guest, Mr. Smith, I've chosen 2 really good options based on the information that you've provided me. I'm going to describe both of these for you, and let's see which of the 2 seems like a better option. So your job is to hone that down and be specific. No more than 2 options. If you have to go to a third, then go to a third, but you should have done the qualifying up until this point, that you're not breaking your relationship by overwhelming them. So, you know, when you go to the mall, for example, and you smell 50 different perfumes, and then by the end they all smell the same?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. So keep it tight. Make sure you're qualifying properly, and that will be our focus for next Tuesday as well, is how do I qualify right so I don't fall into the trap? Oh, sorry, I'm going crazy here. How do I make sure that I'm qualifying right so I don't fall into the trap of just, bleh, here are the 75 things that we have?
Yeah, I think that that's a valid relationship breaker that a lot of people kind of fall into. From what I hear, I do a lot of our mystery shopping, and like Erica said, if you're asking the right questions, and the guest will basically tell you every single thing you need to know about how many beds they'll need and how much space they'll need, how intimate of a setting they want. So you're able, by doing that qualifying, to limit those options, E-Man. So it will get simpler for you.
Got it.
Great. Okay, so what other conversation can we have on this? Are there any others that you would like to talk a little bit more about and say, hey, what should I say instead?
What about this is Kimberly? Can I have your name, please?
Okay. So this, particularly for red communicators and for blue communicators and even yellow communicators, can come off as being a little affronting, because it insinuates I'm not going to share information with you until you tell me who you are. So
Gotcha.
soften it up. It's okay to ask, and I do expect you to get that guest's name. It should be more conversational, more relationship building. So instead of breaking with this, it might sound like, thank you for calling the Wren Condominiums, an East-West resort. This is Kimberly. How may I help you? Kimberly, I just wanted to call and see what you have available for the first week in July. Great. I would love to take a look at that for you. With whom am I speaking?
Okay.
So that way, it sounds like more of a relationship. This gets troublesome, Jessa, in the Navis environment, because sometimes the name pops right up, and then we forget to ask because I have it.
Right.
So I think it's still a great relationship builder to be addressing your guests by name, or at least acknowledging that you're establishing the relationship with them and not coming in like, I already know who you are. So we don't have to have that conversation.
How about like how many people in the party? Is that like, usually there must be another better way to say that instead of saying, oh good, you guys have a big, huge family is why you're getting a condo,
Yes. So that qualifying question will sound a little different as well. And on next Tuesday, we'll give you some variety, but I'll tell you today that a great way to say is, well, who's coming with you? Okay, so it's your whole family. And how many adults and how many children? Great. So based on what you've shared with me, it sounds to me like a 2-bedroom condominium would be a perfect fit. Am I getting that right? So that way you're controlling it a little bit more. You're making the better recommendation. Oftentimes your guests will say, I just want a 2-bedroom condo arriving on July 1st and departing on July 5th. And they might have 15 people. You know that's not going to work. So if you can structure it right by having strategically crafted qualifying questions, you're going to increase the likelihood of getting the right fit to the right guest.
Got it.
Awesome. What else?
Can I tell you one that I hear very often?
Yes, please.
Okay. Feature dumping. People feature dump to the point where you're like, I don't even remember what they said. So feature dumping sounds like, okay, when you stay with us, you're going to get breakfast. We have a pool. There's this, right? But it's so boring and glazed over that you just feel like, well, doesn't every hotel come with that? And it loses all its importance and its value to the caller.
So instead of feature dumping, we want to do benefit selling, also called creating value. So the pool, if I'm sharing information about the pool that we offer, instead of saying we have a pool, I would say, as a family, I would highly recommend this option because of the fact that we offer an outdoor pool at the Wren condominiums. It gives you a great place to relax after a long day of hiking and mountain biking. The kids absolutely love it.
Very good.
Yeah. It's a far more enthusiastic presentation, and being the yellow communicator that Yolanda is, that's what she's expecting.
Pull my heartstrings.
Yeah. So when we're building the relationship, are you able to see a slide at this point?
We're still on the workbook.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Erica. I'm new, but I'm learning.
This is a newer platform for us, so we're figuring it out.
What do you see now?
All three.
Okay.
We go to bigger.
How's that?
Good.
All right.
Perfect.
So in building the relationship, our goal is to talk in terms of others' interests. So when we're qualifying, we're able to describe the pool in the way that Yolanda wants, or describe the pool in the way that Erica wants, or describe the pool in the way that Iman wants. We need to understand their communication styles in order to do that effectively, of course. So as we go into making sure that we're creating value and qualifying properly, we do need to try and get a vibe for their communication style, which is why I asked you to do a little bit of work in trying to maybe identify some different guests that you've encountered either over the phone or in person that might have those different communication styles. This is where true listening occurs. Communication is not just what you say, it's also what you hear and how you interpret what you hear. So we kind of ended with our top line, what is your communication style? And I've taken the liberty of entering some names here so that you could make some correct relationships between people that I know you know and people that perhaps you work with on a regular basis, so that you're starting to kind of, oh, okay, that's why they communicate the way they communicate. So when we're having that conversation with somebody, and I say it's a two-way street, our goal is to listen to learn and digest aloud. That's truly what listening will be focused on. And once I do that, I can't unhear what I've heard. Generous listening is described as listening with a deep appreciation to the reality, feeling, and commitment of another. contributing to the other person the experience of being understood. So I won't understand what you're saying unless you're communicating to me in a way that I want to be communicated with. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It does.
Yes.
So Monica, being a blue communicator as she is, how does she want to be communicated with?
Not rude, that's for sure.
Yeah.
More like a peaceful, trying to avoid conflict, like smooth relationship, like hey, like very optimistic, very
I think-
cheerful,
Genuine too.
genuine.
You know?
Yes. She wants to have a relationship with you. Now, Jessa, what about KT?
I believe she wants to be precise with things, as well as when she would delegate something to you, she would know that it will be done, and very direct with everything. You know, she's that type of person who knows what she wants, and she will communicate it to you the way she wants it to be done.
Yes. She's very direct. They're very different in that respect. KT and Monica will be very different. What that means, though, is that if we want to make sure that they receive the message that we give, we have to talk in terms of their interests and talk in terms of how they're going to understand. So it makes us need to be a little flexible. So tell me about some guests. Tell us about some of the guests that you were thinking about, you reflected on, or maybe you encountered over the past couple of days. And did you figure them out? Who'd like to begin?
Can I begin?
Please, Jessa.
Thank you. So I've actually thought about this, and most of them are people I've been on the phone with, and then I've actually met them. So it just kind of like a confirmation of actually who and how they communicate. So I have the first one is a green guest. Her name is Gabelle Jeanette. And on the phone, she was very she asked a lot of questions, and she was trying to get all these information. And until she decided, it was a very long conversation, all the information I've given, until she finally decided on something. And when they came for the winter, we gave her two options of, switching rooms, because we had to move some stuff around at the chalet due to just third-party bookings. We don't really guarantee the bed type. So she couldn't decide. She had already chosen the room that we offered for her with an upgrade, and she just decided to stay, back and forth. She decided to stay at the end with her girlfriends, and she didn't want to be alone. So she didn't get to decide on that, but she still loved us and she wanted to come back. So that's my green.
Okay, good. That sounds about right. She's
Pretty
very
accurate.
thorough. Yes. She wanted the whole picture, it sounds to me.
She did. She wanted all of her options open, and she couldn't decide. But in the end, she decided what she wanted in the first place was to stay with her girlfriends. So.
Okay. So strategies for green guests, things to remember with them. So if we meet another Gabelle Jeanette in the future, goals for them. Be methodical yourself. And that means that you'll talk in terms of, so the first step will be for us to take a look and see what we have available in terms of options. Secondly, what I'd like to do is help provide you with a side-by-side comparison of the two, so that we can hopefully help you to narrow down the better fit. I know that you're going to need some time to give this some thought, so please take that time, and then I will follow up with you. So they want to know, what's the plan? What's the strategy? How are we going to do this together? So that way you increase comfort for them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Good. So other things to know about green guests, they are not feely types of people. So saying things to them like, it's going to be amazing, you're going to love it, this is so phenomenal. They don't respond to that because A, it's not founded in evidence. B, I'll figure that out for myself. Thank you very much. And C, you're kind of wasting my time by giving me your opinion. My opinion is the one that will ultimately win here. Now, that works very well with other communication styles, just not as well with them. You do have to make sure that your information is correct. 9 times out of 10, they know more than you know. So they have found the mistakes on your website. They know how much lift ticket prices are. They know they have already booked X, Y, and Z. They have a spreadsheet for the entire week of their vacation. So talking to you is more about being right. So they want to confirm that the information that they've uncovered is correct. So for them, it's a good thing to ask, okay, so tell me about the research that you've done so far. That's a fantastic qualifying question to ask for a green guest. It allows them to be in the driver's seat and feel like they have control.
Great question for them.
Anyone, tell me about a yellow guest does anyone have a yellow guest that they can recall?
I haven't, obviously, but I'm guessing that some good strategies for yellow guests, since I am yellow, would probably just to keep me focused, because I'll talk about everything in the world. I'm social. They're friendly. But they also, I don't know. I'm lost with this. I don't have much experience to relate, so.
It's okay. This person will come to you. Eman or Jessa, do you have a guest that you can recall that you feel was yellow?
Yes, I do. Do you need the name? Because I will never forget this guest.
Go ahead.
His name was Scott Mann, and he literally talked on the phone forever, and I got sidetracked because we talked for 30 minutes on the phone about everything and anything. And I guess I had to just put myself, I realized that when I found out about the color of the guest, that, oh my goodness, he is definitely a yellow. And he talked about his dog and his family, and it was like, great, that's great for you. And I talked about my dog, and it was a hilarious moment. And when he was at the front desk, when I finally checked him in, he was the same, and he stayed for an hour talking about everything. And they were about to check out as well, so that was it. He was he just never ended. And I guess I have to put myself now in that type of shoe once I come across a yellow communicator, because I don't also want to waste his time or my time when I can do other calls. Mm-hmm. But we just have to go straight to the point and learn how to, I guess, say it and end the conversation and not to be rude in that way, but just to know when to stop the conversation, because it's never going to end.
You're right. So it only ends when you start moving it in the direction that you want it to be moved into. And this requires a little bit of kind of artful emotional intelligence, emotional flexibility. Why does he want to talk with you about everything? Why?
They have all these ideas and they want to share it. And pretty much you don't know what to do with that information. So you share your ideas as well.
Yeah. So they want feedback from you. They want to know that what they have said to you has an impact on you. So the goal here should be that I love hearing stories like this. I love my dog too. And what I also love about what we offer here is that we do have pet-friendly residences. So I don't know if you actually do or don't, Jessa. Do you have pet-friendly residences?
Not for condos, but at the Mountain Chalet, yes. So when they bring their dogs, it never ends.
Perfect. So being able to take the rambling and then harness it and move in the conversation. It's anchoring it into something and going, okay, my goal here is that I want to keep this person on task. I love the conversation about the dog. Bam, this is my opportunity to get it back on track, or else he's all over the place. So maybe something as simple as just saying, are you bringing Snoodles on this trip? And then he knows that, okay, I heard she not only did Jessa hear me, but she's also now being able to take this and help me to customize this experience the way that I want it to be. So they're very good at being able to give you the big picture ideas and to be really flexible and receptive to different options. So the more qualifying you can do with them, the more collaboration occurs. And it's just a matter of being able to pick up on those things that are to say, this is relevant to making a reservation, or if I'm not hearing relevance to the reservation, it's time to turn it in that direction. So it may be something like, well, it sounds like you're having an amazing day today, and I love hearing about everything that you had for lunch. Thank you. It's making me hungry. So I'm excited to tell you about some of the restaurants that we even have available here. In fact, the one that I'm going to go to today for lunch is, and then you can get it back on task a little bit. Does that help?
Yeah, that definitely helps because I don't want to sound rude to the guest on the phone when it's like, I just think you should talk to a therapist, but it's like, don't want to say that as well.
Yeah, we do, but we don't, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. They love third-party endorsement, so that's a definite strategy for a yellow guest, telling them that families just like yours, or we just had a family that brought their dog last week, and they raved about the mountain chalets. So I know you'll be thrilled with it. So I'm using some things here. They raved. I'm talking about another family or another group. I'm being expressive. I'm using my tone of voice. Now, Eman, this might be something that doesn't necessarily fall within your comfort level, simply because of the fact that you're a green communicator.
Yeah, I'll go and find it myself. Thank you.
Right. So as a salesperson, or when you have on that strategic sales hat, your goal is going to be to come out of your shell a little bit so that you are being a bit more expressive and assertive than what you may be comfortable with. That way you're assured that that yellow guest's that yellow guest receives the message that you're hoping to communicate.
And I guess a great practice will be with Kimball right here. She's a jealous. I'll be practicing with her. Kimball, am I getting my message through?
Yes, yes. And she might say, you know what? I wasn't feeling it, Eman. You need to give me some more color, less detail. I don't care about the detail. I care about the dream.
They're too black and white.
Too black and white, yes. Okay, can anyone tell me about a red guest that you can recall or that you've encountered just recently?
Anybody? Can I go?
Go ahead, Jessa. Take it away.
Okay, so I have Miss Hisu Kim. She was, she and I spoke on the phone a couple of times before. I wasn't the one who made the actual reservation, but I helped her out with the reservations process after she had the folio already on file. So she was asking about everything with regards to the precise time of the airport shuttle, and it has to be there. And I think that's what it is, but she was very demanding with what she wanted, and she knew what she wanted, and it had to be what it was. And she was also when she composed her emails, they were very organized, and she had bullet points, and she was pretty much just sure that that's what it was that she needed, and it had to be followed through.
Was she always realistic?
She was. She wanted it was her anniversary with her husband.
Hmm.
So she wanted to have a view of the slopes. It needed to be what it is. And I was obviously, I guess in the Mountain Chalet, we don't actually guarantee the room numbers. And so we guarantee the type of room that you have, but not the actual, not room numbers, because we get a lot of like returning guests for like 30, 50 years. And so you can't
cool.
really guarantee that, but she was very realistic in a way that she knew all of the options she had and she worked around that.
Hmm. So why do you think she's red and not green? Because it sounds like she had a lot of her detail and she had done her homework. So what was the difference?
I guess just how she knew what she wanted and she demanded it to the point that she made the bullet points is, I guess, was
She's
that it
persistent.
gave it away for me when she had bullet points and what she wanted to happen and what she wanted to do for her husband. And if she didn't, it was more of like, if she didn't get what she wanted, she's not happy and she'll be disappointed, that type of thing.
Okay. Okay. So what we like about them is that they do typically know what they want. They don't really care how to get there or how the goal will be accomplished, but they're not uncomfortable with saying, here's what I want. Here's my expectation. And because of the fact that you are the professional there and I'm not, I expect that you'll get this done. So is that the vibe that you were getting from Ms. Kim?
Yeah, yes, that's the vibe. Like her voice and her tone of voice was very, I want this to be done. Figure it out. I don't care how you're going to do it.
Perfect. So being a red communicator myself, I'm quite comfortable with that. I mean, at first I even get uncomfortable because you're not sure where it's coming from. And then once you peel away some of the layers through asking some questions, but not too many questions, you're able to really decide that, okay, this is a take charge kind of a person. She's comfortable with being in that role. She's not uncomfortable with being told no either. So
Yeah.
strategies to take with those red guests are to be direct and assertive yourself. So Ms. Kim, rest assured that we will absolutely take care of this. I am personally going to be on this myself. So that would be the idea of inviting them to experience those exclusive, more intimate, or one-on-one encounters or products. She wants to know that you're not going to farm this out for somebody else and then run the risk of it getting messed up.
Yeah, they didn't want to, they wanted you, whoever they spoke to, because they were kind of disappointed already with the person they spoke before that.
Uh,
And so when I took over, she was already kind of irritated. And so when I took over, it was more of like, I wanted this, and these were not done. So can you do something for me? I don't care who I spoke to before that, but this is a different situation.
yes. So, Ms. Kim, I am so grateful that you told me about your previous experience, and I want you to feel comfortable and confident knowing that I will personally be handling all of the requests that you've shared with me here today. I take this very seriously, so you're in good hands now. Her time is money, so you have to respect her time. I know that your time's valuable, and I know how hard it is to create a memorable vacation like this. So I will be taking the pressure off of you. I'm going to do this, that, and the other thing. Um, they're not expressive, so you're never going to hear from them. Oh, I love you. You're wonderful. Thank you so much. Um, but what you will hear from them later on when they check out is you were just amazing. And they will tell their friends and they will tell their family if you were amazing. If it was just fine, they aren't going to recommend you. They're looking for that above and beyond. They're looking for the standout because that's how they work. They are above and beyond and they are standout on a regular.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely did. Yeah.
So I think you handled that so well. They're not looking for you to ask questions or waste their time by saying, now I know that you already gave all of this information to somebody else, but can you spend another half an hour telling me? They'll go nuts. So they like it when you can say, okay, as I'm taking a look at your reservation here, or the information that has already been communicated with me, it seems to me that we're arranging for some grocery delivery service, and I have that order here. And I also noticed that we're having some packages sent to you, so we already have that under control. Am I getting that right? So
Yeah.
I'm making stuff up here for Ms. Kim, but you're getting the idea. She doesn't want to repeat herself. She just wants to confirm that you have what you need.
Yes, she definitely did.
Awesome. So this is what I would say for her. She's okay with being told no, but she wants to hear, here's what I can do. So this is just like KT. She don't come to me with problems. Come to me with solutions.
Yeah, definitely.
Great. Okay, so a blue guest. Are we thinking of one? Do we have one? It can be you again, Jessa. That's fine.
Okay. I won't say no to that. But
Kimberly's new, and Eman's thinking over there, I think.
it's okay, guys. I will keep it short so you guys have time. So I have Miss Priscilla Bedell. So on the phone, she was the sweetest sweetheart ever known to man. She was very, I'm sorry, like, if I know that you guys are busy right now because it was the winter time, and you know it's different when you're trying to make a reservation in the off season and when on peak seasons. And she was very patient with just all, she was listening more than talking. And she was kind and very sweet. She knew what she wanted, though. She knew what she wanted. She was very precise with her details. And when I met her personally, she was like a mom. She was just the greatest mom that you would want to have. And how she communicated, how she asked me like questions that are like because we have a public bus transit here. And she wanted to know all the information on get there. And so when I gave her just a list of things and just an option, 2 options, 3 options, I actually gave more, but she was very thankful for that. And that she actually wrote a little card note after when she checked out. So that was like a very, very sweet gesture that some people don't really want to give or make time to do. So when you're on vacation, you're not really doing any of that. You really, really were happy with the stay. So I really appreciated her, and I'll never forget her. So she's definitely coming back next year.
How cool. You nailed all 4 of these, Jessa.
I actually thought of them, and I have like really, like, when you have a relationship, it's different. And so I'd like to learn more, like I said, like on the sales side of it, because like when you're genuine is the only answer to that, really, because sometimes you get tired of, answering calls and making conversation, but when these type of people come along, you never really know who you're going to speak with, and they will change your day,
They will. And how much spicier and exciting can it be when you're adapting your style to each of these different types of communicators, right?
Yeah, definitely.
They don't get boring anymore. You're not a reservation factory. You're starting their guest experience. So when you're selling to Ms. Bedell, here's what she's looking for. She's not going to respond to conflict or negotiating or haggling. If she doesn't like the price, she's just going to say, okay, thank you, bye. So you have to be the one to ask a lot of questions and making sure that when you're closing the reservation, you're asking questions like, so how do you feel about this option? She is feely, unlike Eman, he's thinky. Blue guests are feely. Monica's feely. So they want you to be asking, how do you feel about that? And focusing on the relationship, saying things like, I'm really excited about this Hayden Lodge for you, or I love this 2-bedroom residence that we have here at the Wren, especially for families like yours. I feel like The kids are going to really enjoy the open floor plan. I think you're going to feel really comfortable knowing that everyone has their own kind of separate living area, sleeping area. And I can just imagine at the end of the day how comfortable it's going to feel when you don't have to fight over what's on TV. So I like the fact that you all have, so those are ways that you can kind of focus on the relationship. Does that help?
Yeah, and I think following up even afterwards with them, because if they did have an issue or a problem, I'm not sure that they would even mention that to you unless you asked them if there was anything they could change or make better for their stay, or if they had any issues.
You are so right. They will just leave and you'll never hear from them again. And if you're lucky, you may get a really big review on TripAdvisor that's about as long as your arm, and it will be super productive and really helpful. And you just read it and go, God, I wish that she just would have said something to me when she was here, because then I could have fixed a lot of this stuff. But she's so conflict avoidant that she probably won't. And that's why the onus is upon all of us to be really curious and keep focusing on that relationship. Take your time with them. And I mean, look at how the payoff was for you, Jessa. Even though you were busy and she's a mom, she's busy too, but she's taking the time for you. And when you took the time for her, you get this beautiful letter back.
Yeah, that was very sweet. She's very sweet. She called me Jessie though, but she's a little, older, but that's fine. That's okay.
That's sweet. Yeah, but that's okay. You're cute. So non-assertive, they're not assertive. Don't rush them. They're very similar to your green guests in that respect. They're not, they don't want to be rushed. They want to take their time. They want to take their time as well. They have to like you as a person to buy from you. So I want to hear about your dog. I want to hear that you're from Kentucky. I want to hear that you're here from El Paso, and that your first language is in fact Spanish, and how much you're enjoying it up there, and how many cool people you've met since you've been up there. That's how you become likable in their eyes. You have to be human. And if what they're looking for is not available, be honest with them. Because if you sound like you're giving the canned answer and saying, here's a good example. I say this in the way that I've heard too often. So just to make you aware, Ms. Bedell, we do not guarantee any reservations. And the reason for that is if there is a maintenance issue, or if there is a weather issue that might affect the unit, we might not be able to guarantee that. Okay, well, the honest answer is that you like to yield and you like to be able to move things around. Yes, we can't guarantee things. What you can honestly say to her, though, is that we are as accommodating as we can be with guarantees. So what that means is if we're committing today to Residence 201, Residence 201 will be yours. Of course, barring any issues that might occur. Everybody knows that. We don't need to make a big thing of it, because as soon as we make a big thing of it, then a blue guest is going, what is she really saying to me? They get their wheels start to turn and they don't trust you as much. So just be honest with them and they'll understand. They'll appreciate that.
So how do you, if when you going back to guaranteeing things,
Mm-hmm.
and when saying no to blue guests, because I feel like you don't want to hurt them with their feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be careful with the words you say. How else can you say no? Like it's just not. We can't change that even when you get here. For example, like if to an extreme that room is not going to be unfortunately available, so you have to give them the other option, which is it's the same. It could be the same type of room. It's just not what they want.
So you're saying that you don't guarantee residences, or you do?
Like you just don't. You like in the chalet, you guarantee room type, but not the actual room number that has that particular view, that particular amenity, and like the convenience of it.
So, I mean, I would say in a situation like that for a blue guest, it's okay to say we absolutely do guarantee this particular room type in the Mountain Chalet. The only thing that might change a little bit is the location. But if we're committing to the one bedroom residence, then you will be receiving a one bedroom residence. I'm putting in the request now for that mountain view. I'm feeling very optimistic that we'll be able to honor that request.
Okay. Okay. At least just to have an optimistic way of saying it instead of being negative, I guess.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Thank you.
of course.
That's a good spin to it versus I can't guarantee it. You can say, I'm really optimistic that we should be able to do that, but what I can guarantee you is the fact that we will have that type for you. Just
So-
spinning it from the can't to the can.
You got it. And that's the top of page 4 in your workbook. Use flow words, not no words. There are a million ways that we can still say yes, even when we have to say no. And flow words are going to continue having the conversation. No words saying things like, I'm sorry, that's not available. Instead of saying that, you could say, it looks to me like the closest thing that we do have available at that time would be a one bedroom residence. The 2-bedroom residences are currently fully reserved at that point in time. What I can do, though, is take a look at the following week and see if we might have a 2-bedroom residence available. Would you like me to check?
How about saying like, unfortunately, we do not have that available?
Unfortunately is a no word, right?
Right.
Right. So instead of saying unfortunately, what I would say is it looks to me like the 2-bedroom residences are all committed during that first week in July. So if you would definitely like a 2-bedroom residence, we should look at the following week. What I could also do is see if we have anything in a larger 1-bedroom residence or even a 3-bedroom. And I'm thinking of the Wren specifically for that 3-bedroom option. But
Right.
those are ways to get out of the no conversation.
Okay, good. It's a habit usually when you say unfortunately, when you hear that word, it's very, oh, I already know what it is. So
I think that's a big mistake that's made by many people making reservations. Unfortunately, sounds softer, but it's still such a no. So,
right. Yeah. Great, thank you.
Really dark in here, of course.
it's a little dark in
I was just looking around and I'm going, I feel like I'm in a cave. When that happened? When did I get in a cave? Oh. All right, so
Can't see you. I'll tell you to get out a flashlight and just.
okay, that's fine. Yes. I'll stand like this. Okay. Great. All right, if we all got to throw a party, which communication style would even get to suggest that we throw a party?
Yellow.
Yes.
Yellow, yeah.
Yep. Kimberly's going to throw the party.
Yep.
Who is going to ensure the invitations went out on time?
Green.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's E-Man's job. Who's going to make sure everyone who should have been invited was invited?
Red or blue?
Blue. They don't want anybody to feel left out. So Ms. Bedell's asking you about the transportation in Snowmass because she's thinking about her whole family.
Right.
Who's going to give the budget and monitor what is being spent?
Red.
Red.
Yes. Who's going to ensure all the details are taken care of?
Green?
Yes. That's E-Man's job. Who's the entertainer at the party?
Yellow.
Absolutely. And with 3 of you here, I have no doubt that would be a lot of fun.
It's gonna be a party.
Yeah. And by the way, they don't care if you're having a good time. They care about their good time.
We matter. Our ideas matter.
It's my party, and I will cry if I want to. Who does make sure that everyone at the party is happy?
Blue.
Blue.
Totally. And who's leaving first?
Green.
Red. Right.
Red.
Red. Yes.
Red.
Green's not far behind. Green knew before they even got there that they were leaving at 9 o'clock. And they'll tell you when they get there, I'm going to have to leave at 9 o'clock.
Now, I can tell you as a yellow, I always say I'm leaving at 9 o'clock, and then I stay all night. So,
Yes,
I'm only having one.
it's true. Yellow communicators do not stick with the plan. They just don't.
Spontaneous.
That's
It's fun.
yeah. What is the point if you're not spontaneous, right?
well, you can't tell a story about your dog, where you eat, what you do, where you live, and be home by 9 o'clock. It's just not going to happen.
No, I need more time. I need more time. So when we think of just building a strong base and relationship selling, the communication styles, these relationship breakers are clearly a big part of it. Next week, when we dive into qualifying, we're going to pick this back up and focus on that in a different way. What we want to continue kind of finishing off with today, though, is this conversation about listening styles, and then we're going to have a little bit of kind of a recap with you, and we're going to play a Kahoot game. So, Jessa, you should have your cell phone handy for the last, 10 minutes of today, okay?
Yes.
All right. So when we communicate with people in person, remember, that's two ways. My overall likability as a person is based on my nonverbals, my tone of voice, and the words that I use. So likability, it's very specifically, I want to make sure that you know that I'm talking about your likability, not just what you do, but how it's received. So 55% of my message non-verbally of my likability comes from my nonverbals. My hands, my eyes, my smiles, whether or not I look up when you are approaching me, all of those kinds of things. Now, it changes when we're over the phone. And this is probably the big thing that you see a lot of people in all of your roles do tend to struggle with. Because we know that the nonverbals, that big blue chunk of this pie goes away. So we're only left with words and tone of voice. So what percentage of your overall likability do you think then, how do these percentages change? If this goes away, what percentage of your likability is based on your tone of voice versus words that you use? What do you think?
Sorry, what was the question?
What percentage of your overall likability then do you think is based on your tone of voice?
So, if we're on the phone and not in person, that tone's going to
100%. No, not really. Maybe 60%.
Eman and Kimberly, what do you think?
I would say even more. I think it depends if you're really listening or not, and if you're interested or trying to help. So I would think your tone's pretty important. It's not what you say; it's how you say it. Sometimes.
I'm with you, lady. So here's how it changes. 80% of your likability is based on your tone of voice. And 20% is the words that you use. So I could say, we'll take the full amount from you guys at the time of booking. Now, what did my tone of voice say?
Very monotonous and
Monotonous.
bold.
And even borderline what? We'll take the full amount from you guys at the time of booking.
Sounds rude.
Sounds rude, like almost punitive, right?
Like, I don't want to give you my money.
Yeah. So congruency is key. My words and my tone of voice have to match each other in order for my true likability, my true authenticity to come out. So because of the fact that we're currently within the 30-day time frame from the date of your arrival, we will secure the full amount of the reservation at this point in time. So my tone of voice is agreeable. My words are softer. They're not as harsh. So I think about that as how we're also making sure that people are listening to us. We can create congruency there. So I wanted to just give you that as a tip as we're thinking of listening, that it's a two-way thing. Now, to round out this next piece, I want us to be thinking about generous listening techniques in and of themselves. Thinking about where you're listening Are you listening? Are you present or are you somewhere else? So when we're listening, and I think we're going to go over to page 6, I believe. Is it page 6 or is it page 5? I can't. Yes, 5. You have 6 generous listening techniques there, right?
Mhm.
So to be present in a conversation is hard, isn't it?
Sometimes
Yes.
you space out.
Yeah, you totally space out, and that means you're there, you're zoned out, or you're waiting to speak when somebody else is talking, or you're stuck on something that somebody said, and I can't get it out of my head that they said they want a 1-bedroom condo, or you're doing something else. So, I mean, I'm sure you've had the situation where a guest is in front of you and then the phone rings and you're not present to either conversation. Or you're judging and you're thinking, God, this person is rude. They must be a red communicator, so I have to be extra bossy now. Something like that. So the goal is to be here clearly in our conversations where we're focused and connected, open, noting, and questioning. So it sounds like it's easy to do, but it's actually hard to do. So some tips for you, be ready for the call. If you don't have a notepad and paper in front of you, you're not doing it right. I'll just say that. It's great to have Navis, but you still need your paper, don't you, Jessa?
Yes, I do.
Why?
All the time.
Why?
So write down. Sometimes in millennials, you use your phone, but it's different when you're writing it down because you know that it's there. And if you lose it and you don't remember what happened, you can just look up your messy notes and still make sense of it because you were the one who wrote it down. Understand what you wrote down. All the details are there.
They're all there. We have to avoid interruptions, restate what we've heard. So I'm going to give you a technique for that. We have to respond with empathy. Yes, we have a tip for that. We have to ask questions and listen to what's being said as well as how it is being said. Remember the 80-20. Don't think of what you're going to say while the caller is still talking, and don't focus on the computer more than the person. So with that in mind, we have these 6 generous listening techniques on page 5. Thank you very much, Kimberly, for keeping me straight on that. And I'm going to share with you, and this will be, I think, great for us to be using to sort of fill in the blanks. Let me see if I can pull that up properly. I have sort of pre-filled that page for you so that we can take a look at that together. All right. So is everyone able to see that page?
We're on blue screen.
No.
How about now?
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, now I made it way too big. Hold on.
Listen generously.
I will get there.
Emphasis.
Great. Okay. So we'll go with this. So the first one is emotion labeling. That's saying things like, I would have been frustrated too, or I totally understand where you're coming from, or it sounds to me like you're confused, or whenever I'm looking for a place to stay and I've never stayed there for the first time, I get super overwhelmed. So I'm responding to the emotions that I'm hearing, maybe not necessarily the content of the message. This is a way that I can show interest in what a guest is saying to me, and I can also start listening for those missing emotions. So let's say I'm a guest that is calling and I'm looking, I call and I say, I'm trying to find something for the first week in July. What is my tone of voice saying to you?
In a hurry.
I'm frustrated. Jessa, what else?
In a hurry, kind of like just I want it now.
Yeah, so I'm hearing some missing emotions. They're either frustrated or they're in a rush. So my best bet here is to say, thank you for, I'm happy to help you with that. Well, how much time do you have right now, Mrs. Smith? Or I'm sure your time's very valuable, but I want to make sure that I find the right thing right away. So do you mind if I ask just a couple of questions, or do you mind if I take 30 seconds to ask a couple of questions? That way I can maybe uncover that a little bit more. They might say to me, well, I already did this once before with somebody at your company. So I don't see why I have to do this all over again. So that's going to tell you a little bit more than you just saying, what are your dates? How many are in your party? Right? You're gonna get a lot further with that. Okay, the second one here is paraphrasing. Paraphrasing sounds like, so if I'm understanding correctly, this isn't the first time that this has happened. Or based on what you're sharing with me, it sounds like you've never been to Snowmass. Am I getting that right? This is a way that I can create empathy. I start building a relationship. I'm not asking obvious questions, but I'm getting at the right answer. I'm allowing them to build on the information that I'm synthesizing.
At 207, just so you know.
Okay, great. Mirroring. So this is repeating back the exact word or phrase that someone said. So I'm calling to see if you have a 2-bedroom condo. A 2-bedroom condo. Perfect. Yes, I'd love to take a look. So tell me who's coming with you. So it's a way that I can give feedback or ask for more. Effective pauses. So there's a difference here. There's a thing called effective pauses, which is 3 seconds or less, which I'm using to intentionally punctuate a conversation. And then there is the opposite of that. So something more than 3 seconds is called something else. Can you guess what that might be called? It has the word dead in it.
Dead air.
Yes, dead air. Dead air is what happens when I'm looking in the computer and all I hear is heavy breathing and clicking with no conversation happening. So if you find that you are going into dead air land, do a check for yourself and thank you for your patience. I'm just taking a look. Or while my computer's thinking about that, tell me a little bit about your familiarity with the Wren condominiums. It sounds like you've been here before. Which residence did you stay in? Do you happen to remember? Ask questions. Effective pauses, though, are used to punctuate something. So because of the fact that you have never stayed with us, let me share with you our cancellation and deposit policies. Our cancellation policy is, so it's what I say at the end of policy, or the pause between policies and hour. That's called an effective pause. Minimal encouragers are short words and questions like, of course, I'd be happy to. Tell me more. What else happened? What else should I know? So little things that encourage people to keep talking. It's very simple. And then, of course, open-ended questions, which will be the heart and soul of what we focus on for the first half of next Tuesday, qualifying more than anything. Beyond, what are your dates and how many in your party? Okay, so I'm going to share with you an excerpt from a call, and I want to give you the opportunity to see how many of these different, use your words, Erica, how many of these different generous listening techniques you can hear in a short amount of time. So if you hear one, I want you to use your text chat. So that'll be on the right side of your screen there. There's a little box that says chat 1, and I'm going to say hello to all of you. And yep, you got it. Jessica's got it. Yolanda's got it. Let's see if E-Man and Kimberly can find a little.
We're coming.
Perfect. Okay, so when I stop the music, tell me what you heard.
Congratulations.
Okay, we're going to back it up.
Let's see what we can do. How can I help?
Okay, so a really good friend of mine from college is getting married out there.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, when the agent said congratulations, what generous listening technique was that?
Like emotion labeling. Congratulations.
Emotion level?
Yes, this is exciting. Yes, perfect. I got it. Okay, I'm seeing your, and it's also a minimal encourager. You're right, Yolanda. Like, you tell me more.
The weekend of July, and I just called the hotel where we have for block, and it's full. So,
Okay. Sure. All right.
Move. Okay, sure. All right. Is Okay, Kimberly heard some emotion labeling there. I also hear some minimal encouragers going on there because I'm not interrupting the flow of the conversation.
So you're looking for another place to stay, is that right?
Ooh, what was that? It's think I'm checking perceptions. I'm summarizing what I've just heard. What else is it doing? It's a paraphrasing.
The mirroring.
Yeah.
It's okay.
All right,
That
sure.
was right.
And where were they going? Where is the wedding party staying? Do you happen to know?
I have it on my email here. I think it's the Lil Nell.
Oh, great.
And,
Sure.
Yeah. Mhm.
We are within walking distance of the Little Nell, only a matter of a few blocks away. So I'd say maybe 3 or 4 blocks away, and we're also conveniently accessible to the Little Nell by a complimentary shuttle service that goes throughout the entire town. So you'll be comforted to know that it will be really convenient for you to get back and forth. And in fact, even maybe a little better because then you'll have another place to hang out here.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I think it would work out. So how did you hear about Molly Gibson Lodge?
Okay, what was that one? Good. We have an effective pause. And how did you hear about Molly Gibson Lodge is a yes, open-ended question. All right. You got this, everybody. So listen, I mean, that was a very, very brief, I'm going to say maybe 30 seconds to a minute of the beginning of the conversation. And what happens when I'm showing right at the beginning that I am using generous listening techniques? How does that make the guest feel?
Do we type it or talk?
Go ahead, you can talk.
I think it just makes them feel like a blue communicator, right? Like there's somebody, they're human, that we're relating, that we are genuine and we care.
Yes. Is it a crowd pleaser or is it only for blue communicators?
I think it's a crowd pleaser for sure.
Agreed. Total crowd pleaser. So I'm going to encourage you to be flexible with these. I'm going to also encourage you to use them often. The more often you're using them, the more you're going to gain cooperation from your guests, and you're going to be communicating the way that they want to be communicated with and not the way you do. This is a way that you stay here in the conversation so that you're not waiting and judging and zoning out. You're present, you're connected, you're focused. You're using their message. And again, Jessa, to your point, keeping it spicy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets boring.
Interesting a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. It gets boring. So it's up to us to keep it spicy. All right. So I know that we're at the 2:15 time. So here's the plan for next Tuesday. And then if you can stick around for Kahoot, please do. Here's what we're going to do. And Yolanda, if you can take a picture of this, this might help to provide the follow-up for later.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Are we supposed to be seeing something?
Why, yes.
I mean, I'd love a picture of your pretty face, but.
Why, yes. Yes, you are. Yeah, just take a screenshot of my face. I will get this by webinar 3, I promise everyone. So here's the plan for next week. We will
Make it big. Yeah.
Is that good? All right.
Yes.
So I want you to review workbook pages 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We're going to spend time on qualifying and creating value next week. And when you're in that zone, you're going to really be thinking about your own specific location. So I want you to be thinking about Snowmass Mountain Lodging, the Wren Condominiums, Vail Spa, Moving Mountains Chalets, and you're going to be creating kind of a game plan. You're going to refer back to the Salesforce process that Yolanda emailed you, and she sent one to each of you that is very unique to your own product. So I want you to go into that and highlight the qualifying questions that you can find in there. If you need another copy of that, please email Yolanda. She'll be more than happy to send that back to you. I'm going to ask you to start thinking about what makes you so darn special. So on page 8, I want you to prepare some talking points that really makes the Wren special. What makes Moving Mountain Chalet so special? And I have some key ideas there for you to be thinking about. So from family fun or convenience or for dining. So think about just a couple, jot down some ideas. I want you to have at least a couple of things in each of those boxes on page 8. And of course, for next Tuesday, I'll be asking and checking in with you. Listen generously to your guests. I want you to be thinking again about what is their style. Eliminate those relationship breakers, or Kimberly, in your case, just stay away from them, okay?
Okay.
Be here, not there. The more you're using those 6 generous listening techniques, the more present it will keep you in the conversation. Then you're going to pick up on the little details that are going to pay off big time for you later on. So these to me are some key strategies that you all can be using for relationship selling. Who has a question before we wrap up and switch over to Kahoot for a second?
Nothing here.
I don't believe I've ever played Kahoot, to be honest. So
All right.
I'm not with it.
Well, we will show you. So just if it's not on your calendar yet, make sure that you're marking your calendar for next Tuesday. Same bat time, same bat channel, just different bat date, May 15th, and beyond rate, space, and availability, customizing the experience. Okay, so Kahoot, let's do this. Kahoot is going to be, you're going to go to kahoot.it, and I'm going to have this for you. We're going to play classic. And what, are you able to see my screen? No, you're not able to see my screen yet. I'm going to get this here for you. Can you see?
We saw it before, I think.
What?
We were seeing it before, I think.
Right here? Can you see anything here?
We see you.
Well, that's no fun. I'll get there. How's this?
Bam.
Right
Bam.
on. Okay, so you're going to go, Jessa, to kahoot.it.
Got it.
And when you do so, you will enter PIN number 1575998. So I would recommend, Kimberly and Eman, you stay on your own. Yolanda, are you going to play?
I guess so.
Feeling frisky today, huh?
They're probably like already there, signed in. I'm still
Well,
like turned on.
one is anyway.
Are you guys get started? My
Jess
phone
is
doesn't
in.
always cooperate with me.
Eman's in. We're just waiting on Kimberly.
Almost.
Okay, here we go. Are you ready? So you're going to be looking on your screen, but here it is. The first one, guests don't know, you heard this today, is the answer what they don't know. They don't know to dial 0 for the operator. They don't know anything, which is why I'm employed, or they don't know why they're calling half the time. What's the right answer? Go ahead and touch the one that you think is the right answer.
This is so much fun.
Well, I'm sorry we're doing it late, but okay, the answer is guests don't know what they don't know. Very nice. So it looks like we have 2 and 2. Oh, Jess is in the lead because she was quick to the draw. Yoli second, Eman, and Kimbo. Okay, this communication style tends to cut you off, wants to know what's in it for them, and is curt. Is it, now mine, the color is different than the color. Green, blue, yellow, or red? Uh-oh.
Never mind then.
Done like a true yellow communicator.
Oh my goodness, I forgot the question. Where is that?
It's at the top. Tends to cut you
Communication
off
style
and
tends
wants to
to
know
cut
what's.
you off.
Uh-huh. Okay, the answer is the red communicator. Red. Oh, getting close, getting close.
Amen. Right out of time.
This communication style already knows what they want. They want to confirm it. Is it blue, yellow, green, or red? Remember, the color is not the same.
Way to trip us up.
I had to be a
Listening
little
and reading.
frisky today. I know.
Gotta read.
The answer is green. Oof. Ooh, Kimberly. Saucy.
Come back.
Ian, where are you?
I'm spaced out.
How many times should you use the guest name in an interaction? We didn't cover this one. This is kind of like a frisky out of the box one. Is it 20 times? You don't have to use it twice or at least one time.
20 times.
Answer is twice. Yes. Twice is the answer. Uh-oh.
I'm getting kicked out.
What is an important generous listening technique to use while speaking with a guest? Using minimal encouragers, paraphrasing, emotion labeling, or all of the above? The answer was all of the above. Oh, Eman's in the game. He's in. Communicating on the phone, the percentage of your likability, that's your tone of voice, is it 80, 7, 38, or 20? Yes. I love it. Everyone got that one right. Okay. It wouldn't be unexpected to hear a guest with this communication style be demanding. Is it blue communicator, red communicator, yellow, or green communicator? That's right. Red communicator. Oh, Yolanda.
I know.
Such a good student. Communication style of a guest who is expressive, gives hugs, gifts, and likes experiences. Red, yellow, green, or blue? The answer is yellow. They like the experience. They're very expressive.
I'm a yellow.
Yes. Okay, this communication style avoids conflict, is patient, an excellent listener, and wants to have a relationship with you. Red, yellow, green, or blue? Yes. Perfect. Okay, I think we have 2 more questions. This is the most empathetic of all communication styles. Empathetic. Red, blue, yellow, or green? Blue is the answer. Blue is the answer. Oh, Yolanda, look at this. And Kimberly, a
Knock me
second.
out.
Ooh, it's getting neck and neck at the end. Okay, quick draw McGraw. Here it goes. The communication style is defined best as being analytical. Is it a green, red, yellow, or blue communicator? Yes. Oof, drum roll, please. And the winner is Yolanda, and Kimberly gets second place. Jessa, third place. Now, I think if Eman had actually participated with the first 5 questions,
This phone kept locking up on him, I have to
He
say.
couldn't make a decision.
I was overthinking them.
All right, good. Well, thanks for playing. Thanks for staying a little longer so we could play. If you have questions between now and next Tuesday, let us know. You'll expect a follow-up email from us again so that we're getting you connected to next Tuesday. But until then, just keep listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
All right. Have a great day.
You as well. Bye.
Bye. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I didn't hear the recording stop thing.